Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Morning in the Valley. I am Jeff Bidwell. It is June the 6th as we are rolling through the summer here. T-minus, 5 months now. 5 months. We're finally going to have some college basketball coming up this November. Coming up in about 9 minutes, we will speak with the men's basketball coach at Valparaiso University. Roger Powell will be with us after it's been quite an interesting 3 months for Coach Powell. Really, maybe most significantly, an interesting March after the Beacons, who went to Arch Madness as the 11 seed and knocked off UIC, knocked off Northern Iowa, and found their way into semifinal Saturday at Arch Madness. Gave Bradley a run before coming up short. And so, it's like all that momentum. And then the transfer portal taketh from Valpo as pretty much the whole deck was cleared. I believe just one scholarship player returning. So it is a new chapter there at Valparaiso for Coach Powell, but we'll get into all that with him coming up here in just a moment. If you haven't done so yet, please head on over to YouTube and search out Morning in the Valley. Subscribe to the page there and help us get some more traction in the old algorithm and get out in front of some more college basketball loving fans. This week, it's been a slowish news week, I suppose. I think probably the most important part is that a lot of teams are now on campus. If they haven't gotten there already, they will be there this weekend as summer workouts have begun in earnest. It's also been camp week. Evansville's men had their little kids camp this week. Murray State's women had theirs as well. So, that's also part of the acclimation period here for these new kids coming to campus, and even the returners coming to campus as workouts begin, but also you got some camp work to do and get a chance for a little bit of outreach with the young kids there in your region. But we expect business here to pick up considerably again in the next week or so as scheduling news will continue to roll out. The big part in June, which I think kind of goes certainly not underreported, but maybe underremembered by people, is that the month of June is really realignment June. June 30th is, of course, the last day of the it's the last day of the fiscal year, if you will, for universities. And July 1 is when the calendar officially flips to, the next 25, 26 calendar year. But what you see is the June 30th oftentimes is the deadline for if programs want to leave. If they want to find a new conference home, they usually need to give at least 1 year's notice. Now they can give less. And I think there's, every contract is different and every, constitution within the conference. So they may have some added financial restrictions to leaving and payouts to pay if they're going to leave with shorter notice. But June 30th is the date that's kind of important. And we have already seen some movement around the college sporting landscape, some football related, some, I think Villanova Villanova is 1AA football. They have moved on to, they have, I don't even know, the Patriot League, maybe something like that. They're over on the East Coast. That's fine. In terms of basketball, the news that came out, I believe yesterday, is Utah Valley is leaving the Western Athletic Conference, the WAC, as the kids like to call it. They are heading to the Big West in the 26-27 season. Now, why does that matter to the Missouri Valley? This realignment game, as we know, is ultimately a game of dominoes. And it is a game of, all right, somebody leaves. Does that mean somebody else is going to leave? Somebody else is going to leave. And then who's going to fill the void and so on. In 24 days, our friends at Missouri State will officially leave the Missouri Valley Conference, and they will head on off over to Conference USA. So, as we've talked with Commissioner Jeff Jackson, he's okay with 11. And 11 is fine from a standpoint of, you can do a pure round robin conference schedule. Everybody plays 20 games, the same 20 games, and there's no problems. Now, 11 games, you've got an odd number, obviously. So there's going to be some scheduling irregularities. Maybe teams only playing one game in a week, or it's going to be different this coming season. But he has said more than once he is not going to knee jerk to, we are just going to add someone for the sake of adding someone. With that said, you look at the WAC now, and the WAC is falling apart. We saw this last year. The Pac-12 all but fell apart. It's now rising from the ashes. In its place, you have teams from the Mountain West. You have teams from the West Coast conferences. So those conferences are going through a reimagination. Well, the WAC appears to just be disintegrating before our eyes, because Utah Valley at the end of next year will go to the Big West. Grand Canyon at the end of next year will go to the West Coast Conference. California Baptist at the end of next year will go to the Big West. Seattle in a month will go to the West Coast Conference. So that leaves 5 schools in the WAC. You have to have 6 to be eligible for an automatic bid to the NCAA championship. So all that is left, and assuming that the WAC is not able to add someone, and that may be a very strong assumption, and it may be a wildly wrong assumption that they may be able to add somebody. But as they sit right now, the 5 that will be there at the end of the 25-26 season will be Abilene Christian, Tarleton State, UT Arlington, Southern Utah, and Utah Tech. So again, how does that affect the Missouri Valley? And I think just the simple question is there any one of those 5? And I don't know that the Missouri Valley is that interested in expanding beyond 12, but is there anyone in that group of 5 that you would find appealing to bring into the Missouri Valley Conference? And again, this is just through the prism of basketball. We have had Dallas Baptist as an affiliate member for baseball in the past, but just from the prism of basketball, I think it is not, I am not speaking out of school that's saying, I think we can cross off the Utah schools. I don't know that we are adding Utah in as a basketball program, and whatever else they may bring as well to getting to Utah Tech and Southern Utah is probably cost prohibitive in the end. So then that leaves the 3 Texas schools: Abilene Christian, Tarleton State, and UT Arlington. Arlington, of course, 20 minutes west of Dallas. Abilene's pretty much right in the middle of the state. Tarleton State's right in between the 2. It just then becomes, is either of any of those 3 schools, are they appealing to the Missouri Valley? And I think number one, you always look for, are we going to get media coverage? 100% no. In Texas, you're just not. It is a football state. It is football, 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 football. And then I'm not even sure what comes in at number 10 in Texas. Arlington, you're in Dallas, all those pro sports. You've got SMU. If anybody's getting college looks, it would be schools of that ilk. Arlington, down the board. And then just from a standpoint of, it's basketball pedigree. We talked about this, when Northern Illinois was looking to leave the Mid-American Conference. And you're like, well, I mean, from a geographical footprint, I suppose it could work. But you're like, they have not done anything in basketball ever. Abilene Christian made the NCAA tournament. They're a relatively new Division I program. They made the NCAA tournament back in 2021, beat Texas. They were 84 in the KenPom. Since then, 131, 193, 209, 221, kind of sliding in the wrong direction. UT Arlington, the last 5 years, 253, 222, 241, 112, 228. Not really there. Not much going on there. And then Tarleton State, brand new to Division I, 261, 212, 163, 129, and then a big drop off to 288 last season. So all of that and all of those numbers, I guess the easy answer is, yeah, I don't know. Look, you're 20 minutes from Dallas. Arlington's probably the easiest one. You can Southwest fly right into Dallas and take that little 20-minute jaunt over to Arlington. This is what you need to watch. And these are the dominoes in these next 3.5 weeks that we need to watch. And whether it is the WAC and the WAC, whether they are able to pull some folks from other leagues, and then those other leagues are looking for it's this giant game of of whack-a-mole basically across the college sporting landscape here. And for these next 3 weeks, there's going to be a lot, and it's going to be and maybe not major moves. The SEC, you can't imagine the SEC, the ACC, Big Ten are going to be expanding any more than they already have, for crying out loud. But at the same time, it's the next programs down that you just have to watch and just keep an eye on to see, okay, how would this potentially affect the Missouri Valley if there is a program that the presidents, the athletic directors, everybody that all those decision makers find would be a helpful additive to the Missouri Valley Conference. All right, Roger Powell, who will join us in just a moment. I want to play a video and this is going to kind of grease the skids for our conversation today. Back in March, again, they make the Arch Madness semifinals, and then Cooper Schwieger off to, all conference player. He goes off to Wake Forest. All right, freshman of the year goes off to Xavier, and then guys are leaving, and it just kind of, but I found this fascinating for Roger Powell to get on social media after Cooper Schwieger announced he was going in the portal. And this is about a 90-second video and message to the Valpo fan base. Here is Roger Powell back in March after Cooper Schwieger made the decision to go into the transfer portal.
Valpo, man, I'm excited. I'm excited about a couple things. Number one, I've been talking about how our program is transformational and not transactional. And 2 years ago, man, we took a young man who had no Division I offers and transformed his life, man. He ended up being freshman of the year, second team all league. And, obviously, unfortunately, he's transferring and he's going to probably make some life-changing money. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited because that's what this program is about. It's about developing young men. It's about giving them opportunities to change their lives. And we're going to do it again. We were able to take a young man like that, develop him, get him better. And you know what? He helped change our program. And we went from 7 wins to 15 wins, doubling our win totals, and a conference semifinal berth in the tournament. And, a lot of that's credited to his work and my vision and belief for him. So we're not going to change. We're going to keep doing that, and we're going to get the next one. And we're going to be transformational, and we're going to develop guys. We're going to keep making Valpo proud. So stick with us. I would ask our fans, though, man, join our NIL efforts, because in this college basketball culture, we need help. And we need help to get the next one, and then help to get the next one, and continue to put Valpo on the map. So beacon up, see the light, and let's keep getting to work, Valpo. We need you.
That was Roger Powell back on March the 13th, and transformational, not transactional. And that is that in a lot of ways that has become a little bit of a calling card for a lot of coaches at the mid-major level. That in a sport now that has become very transactional, trying to really dig into, we're trying to change lives. And if changing a life means we are bringing a young man into our program, like a Cooper Schwieger, for example, and we are going to give him a platform and a canvas to work upon where he is able to become the Missouri Valley Conference Freshman of the Year as a freshman. Obviously, not many sophomore freshmen of the year. The freshman of the year, return to Valpo for a second season and, be an all-league player and help lead his team to the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament semifinals. I think in the end, that platform then allowed Cooper Schwieger to go get his bag at Wake Forest. Now, if Cooper Schwieger, the disappointment from fans that come in is that we had him for 2 years and now he's going to go play for somebody else. And, the prism that everybody needs to look through is, you hope that you have kids that people want, and you just hope you're able to retain them. And that's something we're going to talk about with Roger Powell, who I just got the note, just run a couple minutes behind. He'll be here with us any moment. That as programs build their NIL collectives, as they go through the revenue share process, if they opt into this house settlement, that NIL money in a lot of ways can be used as retention money as opposed to acquisition money. And because I think when you get guys, we saw this at Evansville with David Ragland. We talked to him last month about finding a Ben Humrickhouse at an NAIA program and having him come in and be awesome and then go to Illinois, and finding a Gabriel Pizzato over in Italy and bringing him in, and then he's gone to Xavier. You're doing your job as a head coach, recruiting, evaluating, bringing guys in, and finding these underserved, under-recruited talents. But then you got to find a way to be able to keep them. But if Cooper Schwieger had been at Valpo for 2 years and gone to the NBA, Valpo folks wouldn't be upset. They'd be excited and they'd be proud of it. And unfortunately, that's kind of the mindset shift right now. I think that it's certainly not an apples for apples situation, but you want to be able to get as much as you can out of the kids for as long as you can. And in this day and age, you get 2 years out of a talent like Cooper Schwieger, you got to be excited about that, because he sure as heck could have left after last season in the end. But transformational over transactional. And that is, look, you can come here, you can play, you can be successful. You are going to do everything you can to help us win games. We're going to get to the Missouri Valley tournament semifinals, hopefully beyond next year if you're Roger Powell. But it's like, you're going to come in here and we're going to change your life. And whether that is from, the academic side of Valparaiso that they're able to sell, whether that is you're going to get 2 years of opportunity to showcase yourself and then be able to move on, whether you're going on to go play professionally, whether you're going on to another program. That is a heck of a recruiting pitch to make. And so that is, when you are a program like Valpo that is, you're trying to build this thing, that's what you sell. We can change your life. It can be in a variety of ways, but we can change your life. And that is what he has pitched. And he has kind of had, again, the deck has had to clear now. The deck has not had to clear, but it has cleared. And he has had to go in and find basically an entirely new roster for this season, and kind of starting over, but a lot of momentum in that Valpo program. And we look forward to talking about that right now with the Rev. Roger Powell, the head coach of the Valparaiso Beacons, joining us this morning. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning, Jeff. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. I'm glad you were with us. We were just talking about your social media message a couple months ago to your fan base. Transformational, not transactional. First of all, we don't always see when players leave programs, we don't always see sort of a goodbye message of sorts to the players from coaches. And you offered that up to Cooper but also provided a message to the fan base. What was the thought process on your end from making that manifesto of transformational over transactional?
Oh, just who we are, who I am. I got into coaching probably for different reasons than a lot of individuals. I was playing professional basketball and having a great career doing it. And I had a sports ministry that I ran while I was playing pro. Every summer I would come back and I would do that. And to be honest, the reason I got into coaching was I believe it was kind of a calling. And that calling was to pour into young athletes, to build them up, to help change their lives, to be a good example to them. And so, with that being the foundation of who I am and why I coach, when you have a kid like a Cooper Schwieger or Allright be honest, they made some life-changing decisions. They got compensated at a high level, and it wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have come to Valpo. I got to be a part of developing them and helping them grow. So in a way, selfishly, it stinks for us. I got to rebuild a roster, but it's pretty cool, man, just to see their development in their career take a level up, and hopefully here in the future we can have some guys like that will stay. But in this day and age, no time to complain. You have to keep pouring into guys and keep building your program. And those guys that were a part of the team last year, they did just that. They helped us put our program at a different level. So I'm grateful for them.
as a staff, when you are able to bring in back-to-back freshman of the year in the conference and they move on, and they came and they used your platform and your canvas and they bettered themselves and moved on. Is there at least some sort of silver lining for you guys as a staff that, man, we're doing the right thing and we're finding the right guys here that can ultimately help us win, even if maybe they're not here as long as we would hope?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's been one other time in the last 20 years that there's been a back-to-back freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley, and to be able to come in, our first 2 years at Valpo. Well, obviously being back as a head coach, I've been there for 7 years now, 5 as an assistant, 2 as a head coach. But the first 2 years as being a head coach to have back-to-back freshman year, I mean, that's pretty cool, man. It's pretty exciting. I think like also in like the top 5 freshman scorers, 3 of those guys, I coached and recruited on the list for Valpo. So, I think it proves to me that, throughout my years as assistant coach, developing was a big part of what I did. And now being able to translate that into to a head coach at Valpo, it's pretty cool seeing it happen and seeing it work. So, I don't want to have like 3-4 years of, back to back to back freshman year and they transfer, but if these guys are getting better, it's pretty cool. And then the last thing is Cooper stayed for his second year, which,
Right.
he was freshman of the year, then almost improved team and second team all conference. So he continued to improve during his time with us. So it just proves to me that we're doing the right thing in developing guys.
I know the regular season didn't go the way you probably would have hoped, even though we saw a leap from 7 wins to 15. But you get to St. Louis, you beat UIC, you beat UNI, and hey, baby, we're on Saturday and at Arch Madness. All bets are off at that point. Getting to the weekend, has that changed the outlook for this program, the ceiling for this program? It maybe sped the timeline up, maybe not for you necessarily, but for all the people around the program and the supporters of like, man, we're not just coming. We might be here now.
Well, I think for me, like I had a process. I knew coming to Valpo, it wasn't going to be a overnight fix. I knew the challenges that I was facing. Our staff knew that, and the first year it was rough. We had a lot of young players, and I didn't have a lot of time to recruit. But I found a diamond in the rough with Cooper, and we competed that year, but we just didn't have the size and everything to be able to compete at the level that I would have liked to compete. I think last year we took a major jump, and we over doubled our win totals, and we beat some teams that we hadn't beat since we've been to the Valley, and we beat them substantially. Also, obviously to make it to the semifinal. That basically we were 41 minutes from the NCAA tournament. No one would have expected that from
Right.
from our program, and we got better as the year went on, and that was kind of the same thing that happened our first year. So for me, have we arrived? No. Was last year a disappointment? No, because I feel like we're getting better, and this year we got to go out and recruit some bigger players, and I think we got some higher level transfers that we wouldn't have even had a sniff at our first year. So the program is moving in the right direction. Now, next year, is that a year we win the regular season and we win the conference tournament? I don't know, but our process is going to stay the same, pouring into our players, developing them, loving them, challenging them, and keep getting better and see what happens.
Going into year 3 as a head coach in the Missouri Valley Conference, has your I don't know if perception's the right word, but maybe what you thought you were going to need from player standpoint, roster build and construct and so on, has any of that changed 2 years in, that maybe we can attack this maybe a different way than I thought 2 years ago when you walked in the door?
Well, man, 2 years ago, I had never been a head coach before.
Yeah.
And, I had worked with some great coaches. I've been a part of some awesome teams as an assistant coach, recruited some great players. 3 of the players that I've been a part of recruiting and coaching, they're playing in NBA Finals right now. Chet Holmgren, Andrew Nimhard, and Aaron Neesmith, which is amazing. But I hadn't been a head coach. So, I've learned so much. I've made mistakes. I've gotten better. My staff has gotten used to me. There are so many things that that I've improved on. And I think that alone has helped me, look at attacking not just the Missouri Valley Conference, but just college basketball as a head coach, period. Now, that being said, the Missouri Valley Conference is, man, it's physical, it's older, and there's a lot of like phenomenal coaches in this league. Every new hire they make, man, they're bringing this great coaches that challenge you, and that's exciting for me. But it's also something that I'm getting used to as a caliber of player and coach and roster, that you face in the Missouri Valley.
We talked about your social media message to the fans in a lot of ways. You went out and met the people after the season. There's an opportunity there where you kind of it's like getting ready for the Iowa caucuses, doing a little stump speech to some Valpo fans there. What was the point of that message, and do you think the message was heard by those folks in attendance that day?
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's no point to it other than just to build in the community.
Yeah.
That's something that I've done from day one. I mean, Valpo is a special place, and the community really believes in the basketball program. They believe in me. They gave me an opportunity. I've been a part of Valpo back when I was at Bryce's as an assistant coach with him, and we won a ton of championships. And I remember just the buzz in Valparaiso and the tradition that we have. And then the university is just awesome university in a great city. So like for me, like going out and spending time with the community is just what I do. That's who I am. And some coaches are not great at that. It's hard for them. For me, I mean, this is just who I am. So, I want to just educate them on what's going on. Like, what are the changes that are happening and how can we be relevant? What do we need to do to continue to be competitive and build in this changing landscape of college basketball? And I thought it was really good just to kind of educate them on that. And then obviously, asking for support, hey, build with us. When we cut down nets, when we win the Missouri Valley Championship, every single person in that room, everyone in Valpo that believed in us and that supported us, they're going to be a part of that success. So that's basically what the message was. And it was pretty awesome.
You guys had the athletic department had a coach's tour this week, got out. Speaking of getting out in the community, I saw you slinging some ice cream. I mean, you looked very comfortable back there. Was this a teenage Roger Powell summer job experience you were able to lean back on here?
And listen, doing that was a tough job, man. I was trying to keep up with the demand. And some of my scoops were bigger than others. So I apologize to anyone that got a small scoop. I was still learning. But no, it was fun, and I was really, Laura Hosmer, our AD, and done a great job with kind of enhancing that coaches tour and not only just in the community, but all the head coaches here. We got to hang out all day together, and that's what Valpo is, man. We support each other, we fight for each other, we love on each other as head coaches. The university, like that's kind of a message of mine, just having grit, but not just grit with the men's basketball program, but all of our sports, and that's kind of that's the camaraderie that we're trying to build here in Valpo, and I think that's going to help us be special in the Valley Conference and hopefully in college athletics.
Part of the coaches tour, you also had a kids press conference, and boy, I mean, did any of those young journalists put the screws to you at all with some tough questions?
Oh yeah, man, there were some tough questions, but it was fun. It was fun. It was energetic. It was full of life, and yeah, I think it was yesterday. No, it was the day before yesterday. It was a great day, and we went to a lot of places in Valpo, and we got to really really impact the community.
You talked about size, and one of the young men you brought in from over near Normal, Illinois, Kobe Walker, and this young man. Look, number one, this is either the best album cover I've seen this year, or you guys are looking like the new WWE Tag Team Champions right there. 6'10", 250, a condominium with feet. What are you most excited about this young man and what he's going to be able to bring to your program?
First of all, his character. He has a strong faith, and he's a teddy bear, man. Just happy, excited for everything. But on the court, man, he's physical, and he has a chance to be dominant as he develops and grows. And that's what I love, because I'm a nice guy. I love people. I'm the Rev. I am a preacher. But when I'm on the court and when I compete, it's like it's a different type of grit, and I'm not the nicest when we're competing, and that's where I see Kobe being this. We're very like-minded, and that's real size that we just haven't had since we've been here. So I'm excited to develop him, get him better, and have him have a great career in the Valley.
Another young man you got, and I hope I get his name right, is Carter Hopoi out of New Zealand. We have seen there's a Evansville has done it, and Murray State now doing it, and you going international and finding guys. There's so much talent around this entire world, and to be able to bring them in, is that more of a priority for you and your staff moving forward, or is this kind of a one-off?
I mean, to be honest, I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Back when I was at Valpo, we had a ton of international kids. I've gotten kids from, Croatia. I recruited a kid at Vanderbilt from New Zealand. At Gonzaga, we recruited a ton of international kids. I had a kid named Alex Tui that may be a draft pick that was committed to come play for us at Gonzaga. And obviously I took over Valpo, so he ended up decommitting and going pro. So this is what I've been doing for years. So you just got to find the right kid that fits. And the reason I was able to get this kid is from a relationship of recruiting kids over the years internationally. So yeah, this is a big key to my recruiting philosophy. And I've had a lot of success over the years finding these kids at all the places I've been, from Valpo as an assistant to Vanderbilt and Gonzaga. So I'm just continuing to do what I've done. And this kid's going to be special. He's going to be a special talent. And hopefully we can keep him for multiple years. And if we do, you guys are going to be hearing his name a lot in the Missouri Valley.
When you got done with March and you looked around and it was you and your staff and I think one scholarship player back, what was the main, okay, deep breath, we've got to find a narrow focus of what we're trying to accomplish with this roster? What was that goal for you?
For me, to be honest, and it might sound crazy, I was excited.
Yeah.
Like there was not one player on our team that we forced to leave, and I know a lot of these schools are doing this now. I would have taken every single last one of them back. But, with the trend and agents and telling these kids what they can get, they all decide to test the waters.
Yeah.
And some of the guys decided to follow the same example of Cooper and and all. And I'm okay with that. Some guys want to just go to different places. They want to get away from Valpo. And I get that. They want to go and see and their last year. But at the end of the day, when they made the decision to transfer, for me, it was excitement because now I can go and try to get better and try to improve. And I love every single player that's played for me from year one to year two. But, we have to continue to improve because we won 15 games last year. And I didn't come just to win 15 games and to get to the semifinal. I came to win the regular season and get to the NCAA tournament. So, when we looked around and, obviously, the high-level player decided to stay, and Justice McNair, love him. He's a loyal kid, and I'm proud of him. Jaden Watson, another kid that, was a redshirt last year, has great size. He decided to stay. And then our walk-ons, Nick Lombardi and, Joe Vick. These are great guys that are a major part of our program. So we had those 5 guys that were still locked in. And I was like, hey, let's go out and just make the most of this and try to get bigger, try to get more length, try to get more size, and see if we can compete in the transfer portal. And we did absolutely that. And as an assistant coach, that was kind of my, role. Like every year, we have to sign 10 and 11 guys. Like we had 11 new guys last year. This year we got 10 so far. I was always that guy that said, okay, how do we get our roster better? And how do we sign the right guys, whether it was 2, 3, or even 4 guys some years? How do we sign them before the May dead period so I can go on vacation and relax? So so now it's just up the ante a little bit, and we had to sign 10 guys before the dead period. And I'm really excited about the guys that we were able to get.
You hired Jesse McClung, brought him over from St. Mary of the Woods. How important is it to you to have a guy with some head coaching experience sitting next to you there on the bench?
First of all, he's unbelievable, man. It's an unbelievable hire. And, he's so far he was able to bring in a good amount of guys here, and he helped me and help our staff recruit, which that was a big reason because we have to be able to recruit so many guys. That's a trend in college basketball now. But then also, man, he did a great job at St. Mary's of Woods. We played them twice, each year in an exhibition game. So I got to see how he coached. And he brought some guys came with him, from his school, and he had a lot of other relationships with guys that he knew over the years that if it ultimately came to Valpo that are going to be really good. So, we built a relationship over the last 2 years, and I just love who he is, and he's going to do a great job here, and I see him having a bright future.
As you have pitched to, and look, every coach in the country pitching on some level of, hey, we need NIL money. We need, this is part of the process now. Do you envision moving forward, 2-5 years down the line? Do you imagine NIL money being used more for retention of players, or it's never going to be 100 to none, but more for retention or acquisition?
I'll be interested to see kind of where it goes and see kind of what regulations kind of come in place. Um, we're doing our NILs a little different here. A lot of these schools are just giving guys money to play basketball. That's not who I am. I can't do that. So we're doing a lot of like mentorship and building of youth and like tons of work with youth throughout Northwest Indiana and Chicago. I mean, we're going into some rough areas and pouring to some kids that will probably never have an opportunity to experience what we're providing. And for me, it's kind of like, I look at NIL with the way that I guess it's trending in NCAA basketball as a way to partner with my student athletes to pour into youth, to have a godly impact on communities. So I love the partnership, and we're going to keep doing it that way. And whether it's retention or whether it's acquisition, I mean, our guys aren't going to get rich, but they're going to make a decent living for doing something that's changing community and changing lives. And it's really exciting about. I'm really excited about that. When I share with people what we're doing, they get kind of fired up about it, and they know it's genuine because I've been doing this pretty much my whole career, even before I was coaching. Ministry and mentorship and stuff like that. So whatever happens with all the regulations, I'm going to keep partnering. I'm going to keep partnering with my players to develop them and really show them what they should be doing with their name, image, and likeness and their influence.
You, again, pretty much an entirely new roster, summer workouts getting ready to roll, and with what's the most exciting part, the most fun part of the job for you here in the next 3.5 months before you officially have that first practice in late September?
Man, building relationships with these guys. Man, I got a bunch of new guys, and we worked out this week, and they have so much life and energy, and we're gonna hang out, man. They're gonna be in my house. I'm gonna be barbecuing. I'm gonna have my Star Wars apron on, man. We're gonna be playing music. We're gonna be at the beach doing running some hills and just eating, hanging out, watching the finals. I'm excited about spending time with my players, and we're gonna work. We're gonna grind, but one of my things is we're gonna work hard. We're gonna play hard because you only get to be in college once, and I want this summer to be special for these guys because the grind's coming, and although we can grind this summer, the summer is. I want them to have fun too. So because once the Missouri Valley comes, it's time for us to kind of put our hard hats on and try to make a name for ourselves because not a lot of teams in this league or conference respect us. So we're going to go out and we're going to get it, but at the same time we're going to have fun doing it.
When's the last time you dunked?
Last year, I take that back. Probably about a month and a half ago, I dunked.
Right.
I try not to dunk too much because all these guys my age are starting to pop their Achilles, and I can do it, but I got to stretch now. I used to just dunk like with ease. I can do it, but like I'm a little more cautious, man.
You got to show those young bulls you're coaching who's got the grit. It's
Yeah.
you still got it in there. You still
Oh
got it
yeah. Oh yeah.
Roger.
Yeah. Be
Roger
careful. I
Powell.
gotta be careful though.
Very much so. Very much stretching. Very, very, very good advice there. Roger Powell, head coach of the Valparaiso Beacons. Thanks so much for the time today. Enjoy your summer, and hopefully we can talk soon.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. There
right.
is Coach Powell. As he's just, it took everything in my being there not to fanboy with him. One of my all-time, probably one of the top 5 college basketball games I've ever gotten to see in my life, the 2005 Illinois Elite Eight against Arizona, the overtime win. And I think I always had, I generally have no care about Illinois basketball and Fighting Illini basketball, but I think from, my TV time and covered Southern Illinois, and Bruce Weber was the head coach there. And so, they had that great run where they were undefeated forever. And so it was just like, all right, professionally had to pay attention to them. And that game where they're down 15 with whatever 2 minutes left against Arizona, and Darren Williams and Luther Head, and just those guys were just awesome. And Roger Powell coming back and getting to overtime and up in the Chicago, was it the Horizon? I think it was. Or is that the right building? I don't know. One of those buildings up there that was just electric. And anytime that little clip of the final 2 minutes of regulation comes on social media, I'm going to hunker in. And so I could have probably talked to him about that for a half hour, but figured that was not the best use of any of our times today. But thanks for Coach Powell for being with us. All right, we got a couple headlines to get to this morning before we get out of here. And, he mentioned the NBA Finals, and congratulations to Ben Shepherd and the Indiana Pacers, the former Belmont Bruin. They have taken a 1-0 lead in the finals over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ben played 9 minutes last night, 3 points, 2 rebounds, but part of that 111-110 win in game one, as Tyrese Halliburton continues to be the most clutch man on planet Earth right now, as he hit the game winner with 0.3 of a second left. Ben fully committing to the mustache right now. Look, we all make choices in life, and that choice has led him to be part of a team that's in the NBA Finals. So I don't think any of us have anything to say about Ben and the stash. But good luck to the Pacers coming up in game. Don't need Ben. We need me. There we go. The one other player in the transfer portal world, and coming out of talking with Roger Powell, Kaspar Sepp, 6'7" sophomore forward, finished his sophomore year at Valpo. He went into the portal as well, averaged about 3.5 points, 5.5 rebounds a game last season, played about 19 minutes a night. He has committed to Cornell, so he is moving on from Valpo to Cornell. A couple of Murray State notes to pass along. Got a chance to talk with head coach Ryan Miller earlier this week at a Murray State radio event. Hopefully we will have Coach Miller here on the program sooner than later, but he was informing us that this late July, and we're about 7 weeks away, his racers will be heading to the Bahamas, taking their international trip that the racers can take every 4 years. They'll go down there to, I guess, Baha Mar in Nassau. They'll go play 3 games end of July, early August. And I just can't look. These trips are great. Anytime for the student athlete experience, and certainly all the adults in the room as well, getting a chance to go somewhere sunny in the summer and play some basketball and get some team bonding. Check. Every box is a positive there. But I am a huge believer, when the calendar works out right, that these are massively impactful trips for the head coach, especially when they have never coached a game before as a collegiate head coach. And just from experience and knowing, back in 2011, before Steve Prohm ever coached a game at Murray State, he took his team not to the Bahamas. They went to Canada. I think it was Toronto. But, they come back, and then bang, you get a couple games in the summer. You get extra practice time in the summer, not just these 8 hours of workouts. You get 10 days to practice. You go up, play some games. But the head coach can kind of like figure out, okay, I have had to sit on the sidelines as an assistant for 20 some odd years. Now I get to be the guy walking up and down. I've got to make substitutions, just all of this, how we handle things. And, obviously Murray State had, went 31-2 in that 2012 season. So I'm sure Ryan Miller would love to go 31-2 and beyond this year. It happened again in 2015 with Matt McMahon, his first year going in. They went back to Canada. Ryan Miller going a lot warmer places there, as they will head down to the Bahamas. But I think from a coaching standpoint, this is as important as anything, especially when you have a completely brand new team and everybody's trying to figure out everything about each other. This is a good spot for them. From a staffing standpoint, the multiple reports coming out of Memphis, including the Memphis commercial appear, Jordan Verhulst, who has spent the last 4 years at Memphis, as the director of basketball operations, director of scouting. He is reportedly coming to Murray State to join Ryan Miller's staff. He has been, those Memphis ties, the Memphis connection from the Miller family, Ernie Kuiper, the general manager, all tied in there with Memphis. So no real surprise that they would be able to pull another Memphis guy out in Verhulst. Worked under John Calipari and actually worked under Josh Pastner at Memphis from 2009 to 2014, was a grad assistant video coordinator, had a few more stops, the G League at one point, and now after the last 4 years at Memphis, is coming to Murray State to join the staff there of Ryan Miller. Let's see. Any other headlines of the day as we go through? Check. I think that just about does it. Not a ton of headlines. I had a whole manifesto. I mean, just pages of notes and to get into about non-conference scheduling and my throwing my hat on here to figure out how I can crack the code. How I personally, because I have of the utmost importance here, of course, to be able to crack the code of how we can get Missouri Valley Conference to be a multi-bid league again in the NCAA tournament. And by Jove, I think I've done it. Kind of. But we will save that manifesto probably for Monday because we have rattled on long enough here this morning. The short version of my 3 pages of notes. Schedule harder, guys. Schedule harder. Hopefully we will start getting some schedule news breaking here over the next 3 days over the weekend, and we'll be able to bring more of that to you as, again, that snowball starting to roll downhill. As non-conference schedules. I think we're up to 5 teams. 5 whole teams have announced their completed non-conference schedules for 25-26. Only 359 to go. So hopefully we'll get that rolling. Coming up Monday, we will talk with Indiana State women's head coach Mark Mitchell. He'll join us Wednesday. UIC women's head coach Ashleen Bracey will join the program as well. If you have not done so already, please help me out. Head on over to YouTube. If you're not already there, search out Morning in the Valley. We've got full episodes if you've ever missed any of them and want to watch them again. If you do, bless you. Especially if it's more than just my mother. Bless you. Plenty of interview clips and so on. You can find those. Just search Morning in the Valley. Subscribe to that page. Like, comment, all that good stuff to get it into the old algorithm pool so we can get out in front of more Missouri Valley loving fans. Thanks for being with us today here on Friday, June the 6th. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you Monday right here on Morning in the Valley.